Good morning. Happy Saturday. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to finally meet you.
Yes, I know. After all of the email correspondence, I'm so excited. Yes. How's your Saturday so far?
Busy. I didn't
Yeah.
think it was this busy, but yeah. Kids making breakfast, stuff like that.
Oh,
Looking
that's a
nice
cool
on a
Saturday morning.
looking nice on a Saturday morning.
That's good. I definitely feel that. I definitely understand that. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to speak with you and just talk about your work and you and all of that good stuff. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. I see some familiar faces and some friends joining. Good morning, everyone. Good
Good
morning. Good
morning. Put it down.
morning.
Laptop.
Okay, maybe we'll wait like one more minute. Alrighty. Good morning. Okay, well, we can get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Savannah Taylor, and I am the Digital Media Associate at the Springfield Museums. Thank you all so much for joining another episode and version of our Instagram Live. And we are so lucky and excited to talk with Andrae Green, whose current work and current piece, Momma, is on display for round and phase two of This Is Us regional portraiture today. And we are so excited to talk about our work. It's currently on display at the Amour Museum of Fine Arts in Springfield, Massachusetts until May 2nd. So that time is coming up. So if you have
Yeah, it's
not
running out.
visited
Time is
yet,
running out.
yes, so please go visit if you have not. There are so many wonderful pieces, and we're so fortunate to have the opportunity to talk with some of the artists whose work is currently on display. So, Andre, once again, thank you so much. I'm excited to speak with you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Savannah.
Yes. Okay. So, before we get too far into the content and talking about your piece, if you don't mind just giving a brief introduction about who you are, how you got started, and just a little bit about yourself.
You sure? I think you need a timer.
We have time.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Well, yeah. I have been known to talk a lot, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. Well, I'm originally from Jamaica, as you can tell by my accent. Um, I moved, I moved here maybe 9, 10 years ago. I got married to my wife, Carney. That's a phenomenal artist in her own right. Um, yeah, when she was going to UMass, and then we slowly kind of moved from the Amherst here area and then settled in Springfield. And Springfield has embraced us warmly. Um, I love the place. It reminds me of Jamaica. It reminds me of Kingston so much.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
it's like a little melting pot of a lot of different ethnicities because I grew up in Kingston,
Definitely.
cosmopolitan place. Um, yeah, and I lived all my life in Kingston, Jamaica. So, you see from the rich to the poor, black, white, in between, Indians, Chinese, and that's what Springfield literally is. Um, I don't think anywhere outside, and forgive me if my geography is limited, but I don't think anywhere outside of Pioneer Valley, has this kind of cacophony of like all of these different races and people mixing together so seamlessly. So like, I appreciate it and the opportunities that Springfield has to offer. So that's me in a nutshell. Where you wanted more artistic stuff.
No, that's okay. That's definitely okay. Trust me, we'll have time to get into that. But I'm born and raised in Springfield, so that makes me happy to hear that you've been embraced so warmly and you've really been able to find a home and find community within our town and our city. So that's really great to hear.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah, like Tracy Woods, awesome person. Brian Hale of the former Being, no, it's closed. Those two people like were very instrumental early on in getting both Priya and myself situated here and then like, your neighbors and then you start to build community friends. Yeah, and I know we have like two kids, so
Yeah.
so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, and it definitely starts to grow. That's awesome. So yeah, definitely, keeping in the theme of community, which is definitely what This Is Us is all about too. How has your artistic inspirations been influenced by your perceptions of community, and how have you been able to incorporate that maybe into your practice?
Well, I mean, I'll take it back to Jamaica again. The motto of Jamaica is out of many, one people. So it's, and it's kind of almost like the US too, in a sense, where we have these different people from different parts of the globe and then making this place their home.
Hmm.
So I guess in a sense, my worldview is not necessarily an ethnic one, but mostly like I guess shared values. You live in the same place, so you care about it. You kind of go to the same schools, go to the same churches, go to the same Springfield Museum.
Yes, yes, we do. Yes,
Yeah,
love
and
that.
I'll just bring an analogy like when Priya and I did the first fresh paint thing in 2019, we had a wide panorama of people coming and like we love this. I've been born and raised in Springfield, and it just makes me so happy. Because like Springfield has a reputation of being pooed upon,
Hmm.
so it kind of raises the Springfield pride, I think. And
Yeah.
and that's what I see most, and that's what my work is about most these days because I'm no longer in Jamaica where it's like 80% or 90% black people, and I feel like your art, your work has to be kind of true to you. And because like for me, I paint representationally, so my vision is always inward and outward,
Mm,
so yes, I have something to say, but it's always a reflective thing of what I'm actually seeing too, because it's representational, you know. So I kind of try to represent my environment, what I'm feeling, what I'm, you know, uh, just the sensate nature of it. So
yeah.
that's, yeah.
Absolutely. No, yeah, that makes complete sense. And I mean, I think that really speaks to the piece that you currently have on display for This Is Us, Mama. It was definitely one of my favorites. It was such a beautiful piece.
Thank
It
you.
it definitely carried a sense of familiarity in the community that you mentioned, but I can let you talk about that. What inspired Mama? Like what was it like just creating that piece?
COVID. Yeah,
Yeah.
so COVID happened at the beginning of 2000 of 2020. I remember like my mom was like, this year you have to spend Christmas in Jamaica, right? Because my
Mm,
mom is still in Jamaica. And so Priya and I were planning and then, to spend Christmas in Jamaica. And, we're planning around like, oh, the baby's income X. And then so we would the baby be able to travel and remember all of those things were in our minds, and then boom, you got this big punch in your gut. You thought it was
mm.
2 weeks, and then 2 weeks ended up into 2 months, and then you know here we are. March is a year. so
Yeah.
so I think what I wanted to do, and and then this is like a direct response to the lockdowns too, where as I said before, a sense of community and a sense of like just connecting to others because that was lost,
Mhm.
the 6 feet and whatnot.
Mhm.
So and maybe that's why stripes started ending up in the work too. Maybe it's a tape measure, I don't know.
Mm. Okay.
Maybe don't quote me on it. But yeah, yeah, so it's just that kind of reflecting and having a lot of time to reflect now. And then like, shoot, in this time I'd be seeing my mom, and that portrait is very meaningful for me because one, my mom, if she knew I was going to paint it, she would not stay still for my brother to take the photo. So it went through a long process. So my brother like sneakily did it, but then that picture in a sense, because I told him exactly what I wanted, and then that picture has a lot of artistic references to. You can think about Whistler's mother and all of these things, that kind of iconic thing with the mother, and then you think about the black mother, the Venus, the you know.
Mm.
So I was thinking about all of those things, and I think that fed in the back of my mind too. You know, what is mother? What is woman? And yeah, but more so, at the front part of it, it's that longing, that missing, that
Mm-hmm.
hoping to be reunited with a very deep, entrenched part of the connection of your body, your mind, your mom, you
Yeah.
know, and it gives me a lot of feels, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like to really make work, I think after like my mentor says you have to have ice water in your veins. But this one
Mm.
I tread, yeah, it's like, yeah, cause to make a painting, it has to be super calculated too, you know. And then how do you walk that tightrope with being so emotional and so charged for you, but at the same time to like be able to destroy it if you need to be able to change it, so parts of it people really liked the part that wasn't painted, the red kind of shoes thing, you know
Mm-hmm.
that's what I mean. Is like, how do you make that decision with, you know that it means a lot, but at the same time you have to like treat it like a dissection in a sense, so that it kind of pushes the narrative of painting as well forward. So I was thinking about all of those things. It's a lot, and you feel like a schizophrenic crazy person at times, and maybe that's
Mm.
how I talk. But yeah, that's just a little snapshot in my mind. I liked it so much that I did a second one, you know, a second version of it. Um, Let me see. Yeah, I have the phone, so
Ooh,
I can
show
literally
us.
show it.
Yes.
I can literally show it. This is my studio. Take a quick spin. Are you dizzy? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there it is. So
A
this
sneak
one
peek.
is
Oh wow.
this one is in contrast now, because like she is now in formal church wear, and so this,
Mm.
yeah. So the painting, the backdrop of the painting is where is my veranda, and that's something from my childhood. Where
Mm.
you sit on the veranda on a hot day, or if the night is hot, you sleep out in the veranda. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a communal place. Bringing that back to community as you were talking about it. It's a very communal place, and a place that means a lot to me. And sometimes, even when I'm here in the dead of winter, you know, my mind flickers back to that veranda. My son, when he came to Jamaica, like, I think that's where it started to crawl, yeah, on that same veranda.
Oh
So it has,
wow.
yeah, and it's my family home. So there's a lot of connections on that veranda. Um, it's a very tender place, a very warm place, a place where you meet people, where a lot of intersections happen. So yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And thank you for showing us the second piece that you did. I mean, it's equally as beautiful. Would you mind maybe walking us through like the technical artistic process for creating it, like the colors and the significance, if there is
Oh,
any?
okay. That part is easy. So right now I'm
Take
experimenting. It's not.
your time. Those are
It's
always the
easy
tough
to it's
questions.
easy to it's easy to talk about because it's like a little less emotional. But yeah, let's see. Can I? Should I bring it to the? Yeah, yeah, because that's going to
Sure, if
be.
you want.
Hey Jervis, what's going on? That's my brother just joined.
Oh,
All
that's
right, so
awesome. If anyone has any questions too, please feel free to drop them
yeah, so
in
this
the comment bar.
it kind of is set up just like the one that's in the show. The one that's in the show obviously came first. So this, as you can see, this is what you call the underpainting here, right? So this is like acrylic. I started experimenting with acrylics just recently as underpaint. as underpainting because I'm mainly an oil painter. You know, I love oils. I love the history of oil. I love everything about oil painting. So yeah, and then it's basically a simple composition that I wanted to keep because I want this body of work to contrast with this stuff that I'm doing here.
Mm.
Okay, so this is all about movement, freedom, um, just being ecstatic, being excited, and then this is contrasting. This is still, this is more somber. This is supposed to be a slower movement. So, the paint is a combination of titanium white, um, black, Mars black, I think, and a touch of blue because I knew this underpainting would be there, so I want it cool so it would vibrate. And then the gold is just to break that up, and also to kind of put it in our time. So when you're looking at it, you're not thinking like, oh, you know, this painting could be done in 1880 or something like that. It brings
Mm.
us back to the present. And then it also talks about the formal structures of painting too, where you are adding um pigmented dirt on a flat surface. So I want to trip up the viewer because at sometimes, you can paint so well, it seems like a
Mhm.
photo, but I want to talk about the photo with how we view life these days through a lens, and it's even more so on Instagram Live and through Facebook and Zoom that we all use. We Zoom life, we see life right now through a very photographic lens, and that
Mm.
commenting on the photograph but then using the photograph as an armature for artistic expression as a launch pad has been in the work ever since. And then like here I started experimenting with like really thick application of paint. You can see that right there.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one in the museum has the same kind of paint application. I think this is more, and it's again just to give your eyes something to feast on when you're very close to it. So I want you to have multiple iterations of the thing. So when you're this distance away, you should be like, wow, it looks like a nice image. When I got close, I was like, oh crap, there's more, there's more, there's more. So although it seems very, very what you see is what you get, I want your eye to keep discovering stuff. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And then the red, I started leaving that out because it adds a nice contrast. Warm versus cool.
Yeah.
All that technical stuff. And then this is the older piece that you can see still talking about the photograph, so and then how truth is distorted, you know. So
Mm.
that's like the main crux of of my work, using the photograph to talk about the times we're looking in, how perception is kind of skewed, stuff like that, simple stuff.
Simple. Definitely. I love how you mentioned, each piece, each part of the piece overall, it's giving you something else to discover and find new and fresh, which is so interesting. And you talked about, you have to be very calculated when you're creating these pieces. And while in COVID, have you just been able to discover new parts or methods that you've incorporated into your craft? Is this one of them? Like, have you been able just to discover new pieces that you hope to kind of emulate and incorporate into your work moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, COVID literally gave me a lot of time now to like slow down and like really like contemplate, just practice and what I needed to ruffle up, what I needed to change. Because before that, I never painted on a colored background. Um,
Mm,
Coming from undergrad, it used to be black because I wanted that chiaroscuro effect. And then when I went to grad school, it was gray for a couple of years. Now it starts pretty kind of abstract. Let me see. Can I show you this one? I'm showing you stuff again. Yeah, so
mm,
it starts like that now, like very free. And I think like the more I get into it, um, the more I'm going to like it's going to start being more abstract in a sense. Because that's just where um the muse is taking me.
Mm.
Um, um, yeah, it's a very interesting process. I try to think about it a lot, but not but when you're in front of the work, just react, you know. So you'd think like I'm looking at a photo, but at the same time, I'm trying to react to it and trying to mine within myself all the emotions I can get from the act of painting. So it's self revelatory too. You know, you discover a lot about yourself, your breathing, you know,
Mm.
your thought process, you know, and because I teach all of those things that I discover in the studio, I'm able to like bring it to the students and be like, you know, when you're painting, just breathe like this, and then you know, paint will flow like this. Cause that's how I talk. That's how I talk in class when I'm talking about painting. Cause literally putting that pigment on a surface, it gives me so much joy. And I don't know what it is about painting. Yeah, I started off drawing comics a lot
Okay.
when I was younger. And then when I saw my first painting, it was a Barrington Watson painting, when I was in undergrad in Jamaica. Because I grew up pretty poor, you know, in Kingston. Um, so I never actually saw art. So the only art I was really like in contact with at any given point until I went to undergrad was like comic art and stuff on the TV, you know, so
Mm.
kind of illustration kind of stuff. And yeah, so seeing my first painting in undergrad, I remember our teacher taking us to the National Gallery in Jamaica, and I saw this like
Mm.
20-foot Barrington Watson painting.
Wow.
It's a he's one of our national treasures, I call him. So, you know, his grandson is a good friend. His son, his sons taught me in undergrad, and
Mm.
coincidentally, his son was my sensei when I was 12 too.
Oh,
And none of
wow.
this I knew. Yeah, and I'm good friends with his wife. He passed on, no. But yeah, there's a lot of synchronicity with just that. And going back to the painting, it's a beach scene where, you know, it's this big boat coming to shore and his little boys, like, there's a little fishing scene and there's this guy standing and but all of that was happening in this huge painting, and I was just sitting there and I was starting to feel the wind and the salt water start to touch
Mm.
my cheeks, and I was just lost for like um a good 20 minutes. I was just there, and that happens to me quite a bit when I go to a museum and see a work that moves me. Because like before COVID, I had a conversation with Rembrandt in the Frick
Mm.
collection. Yeah, I was there, you know, in front of the portrait, and I was just transfixed, and he started talking to me like, you know, yeah. So I get these kind of like very um, wait, I can't think of a word now, but
You get
it's
enraptured.
yeah, in a sense, it's like you're so moved by the spirit of the thing because I feel like paint is able to embody part of you. You know,
Mm.
once you do it and you believe what you're doing, you know, and you're really like into it, it can capture a part of your emotion, a part of your thinking, a part of yourself. You know, that's why a lot of painters talk about like, you know, creating a painting is like a birth, you know. You have all of these kids all over the world and stuff like that, you know. So it's a phenomenal process, one that I love a lot. Like every painting is like, you know, different and
Mm. That's awesome. Yes, I see the comments. Yes, and again, if you all have any questions, please feel free to drop them. But yes, loving the love and the comments, keep them coming for sure. Um, that's awesome. And you mentioned, Andre, that you started off doing like comics, like you were like drawing comics. Do you still do that? What are some other styles of
uh
work that you've done?
I mean When I, I figure at some point, because I'm always kind of interested in it, I'm always like interested in what happens in the MCU or the DC
Mm.
universe. And of course,
Yes.
I'm going to always be watching those kind of things. Whether it's kind of ebbing now because I think people are sick and tired of comic stuff. Especially
Yeah.
people, yeah, I see your face. Especially people that aren't into comics. But for me, and then it annoys me that grew up with it and had all the books. And coincidentally, I had a whole pristine collection since I was like 12. My mom used to buy these
Wow.
things. And the last time I went back, the lady destroyed all of them. She just threw them
Oh
out. I mean, a
no.
huge box of like stuff in a wrapper. She thought it was
Oh
trash. So,
no. That could be worth some money. Oh
yeah.
no.
So, but in a sense, I think comics were the first kind of things that gave me like a kind of interest in pop culture. And our pop
Mm.
culture is the culture of the masses.
Yes.
It's not seen as high art, but then again, when you look at Andy Warhol and what he was do to
Hmm.
kind of just a Campbell soup can and those kind of banal things and elevate it and help us to kind of be aware as a society as you move and progress through time. We lose a lot of things and a lot of things become ubiquitous like the Campbell soup. It's not anymore. I think, yeah, I can't say anything good or bad about Campbell's, and I don't want to like you know but yeah, I don't think it's as ubiquitous anymore, but I think at a time it was. It was everywhere. It was so everywhere that you never thought about it.
Mm.
So all of those things kind of feed my interest. I'm very much into pop culture, trying to figure out like how are people thinking now? Why are they
Hmm.
the ways they're thinking now? Because as I say, I want to mirror society. I want to kind of be a voice, but at the same time, you have to figure out how are people speaking. It's like you can't go to France and be speaking English and expect
Hmm.
to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so that's where I am, and that's how I see art, as a language to communicate and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. That completely makes sense. Are there any projects that you like want to do, or any dream projects, or uh just anything that you hope to do in the future, just something that you've always wanted to do that now you might have the time to do, given that things are still very much so slow?
Well, for me, I have dream projects, but I I never ever feel limited by a circumstance.
Mm.
In my head, it always seems to get done.
Okay.
Because like when I represented the U.S. at the Louvre, and I went to the Louvre and I saw the Maria Medici room.
Excuse me. That's a humble flex. Yes.
Yeah, so I went there and I saw all of these Rubens is in this room, this 15-foot paintings, 20-foot paintings. I'm like, my
Mm. Yeah, they're
I
huge.
want to do that. I did a 10-foot painting, but in my humble opinion, it's not anywhere close to that. But, 2019 Fresh Paint, Priya and I got a chance to paint 150 feet by 50 feet. So,
Mm.
I got that. And then coming up in Fresh Paint again, I'm going to be by myself this time, and it's going to be a huge wall. So
Mm.
the things that I want to do, the universe, providence, God always seems to give me the chance. So I don't know. I just think I need to dream bigger because right now all the dreams are coming true.
That's awesome. But that's awesome. That's awesome. That's really, really good. And of course, I think it's so great that you mentioned you're never limited by a circumstance. You're always finding creativity from either pop culture or your community. That's so important. And
Yeah.
that's really how, like you mentioned, that's how we start to communicate and understand one another through
Mhm.
all of these mediums combined. So that's really awesome. And you mentioned your wife is an artist. Do you all create art frequently? I know you mentioned the piece that you all did, I think, in 2019, but do you all both collaborate?
Uh, on certain projects, we have our individual practices. Like this is my studio right here. Her studio is in another part of the house, away from me. But we critique each other. She comes in and tells me like this sucks, or doing something really good. Don't change it. Don't touch it. You know. And I did the same for her. Um, for those who don't know her name, is Priya Green. Priya, not Carney Green. You can find her on Instagram at Priya Green. Yeah. It's wonderful because like we both help each other and we build each other up. It's and we compete against each other too, because you know you can you can check way back in my feed where we did this competition and we were trying to like who can paint it best, and she beat me. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. I'll
That's
admit that she
awesome.
beat me because I was playing on her turf. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That's awesome. And do your kids, are they into art? I can only imagine you both must have such an artful home too.
Yeah, there's a lot of art. My son sometimes when he's only 3, so I don't think his mind can like stay on it too long, but he does like to paint. His daycare. Um, lady says he has like incredible dexterity. He's already drawing circles. So I'm like the only other artist I knew that was able to draw a perfect circle that young was Michelangelo. So you know, so
Mm.
let's see. Let's see. I hope you'll make me some money.
A next prodigy, yes. I
Yeah,
see
no,
Priya in the
he's
comments.
yeah, he's huh?
I see Priya in the comments.
Oh, she is? Mine
Yes.
froze. Okay.
Oh, well. Hi, Priya. That's awesome. I see a question. Okay, do you have a vision for Springfield's art community, especially young artists and your students? That's a great question.
Hmm. Um, I think my vision or what I hope, it's not a vision, but uh, as an art person, as an artist, you kind of want the place that you live to be like a breeding ground for more art. And I could never
Mm,
ask. And I mean, it is that even before I got here. But definitely I noticed an uptick since Priya and I got here. There's so many projects happening. The Springfield Museum is like literally opening its doors now. Thanks to you guys, Maggie. Shout out, she's awesome. Savannah. Yeah. So I think going forward it's very bright. You have Brit Rue coming in with fresh paint, and that just sets the whole place on fire for a week, and I'm excited to be a part of that again, and yeah, so yeah, I don't know, cause it like Springfield is so small, it's not like Worcester, so
mm-hmm.
I don't know what's reasonable to expect, I guess, but every time I expect something, it just amazes me how much we can do, and then also to in spring in fresh paint they're going to have I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but I think they're going to have the paint parties again and stuff like that. So yeah, so I mean, the whole community is excited to be represented because I think this is a community in Springfield when you're taking all the groups together. They want to be represented. They want to have a voice. They want to say this is who we are, not
Mm-hmm.
not what Northampton or Amherst
Yeah.
says we are. Because I guess all they hear is the news, and then that
Mm,
frames Springfield. But I think Springfield is trying to like control the narrative, and I think that's beautiful. I think the mayor is like really cool to be able to like green light all of these projects and stuff like that. For art, I know he's great. I can't comment on anything else. But yeah, at least I don't have an opinion. I think for art, he is one of the best people ever. You know, um, Laura Masulis that used to live here. She was a great friend. Now she moved. You know, all of those people like come in and just gives us a little bit, moves us forward. And I don't see us going back. Even during COVID, it was like, you know, you had the reaction, the BLM painting things too,
in the
you know,
streets.
and you have a lot of stuff going on, and you won't know if you're not tapped into it. So I think
Absolutely.
it's, yeah, I think it's very exciting, and there's a lot of history and culture here that I think we need to mine into even more. So I'd love for me if we could even highlight those older voices that know the history, you know, and even more, you know. But I think we're living in a phenomenal time right now, and the sky is just the limit what humankind can achieve. If you've seen the SpaceX launch, although it crashed,
Mm.
it literally the rocket was able to do that. You know, a rocket, and
Mm-hmm.
you see the thing
Yeah.
spark. You feel like you're in a like a sci-fi movie. So you know, I'm like excited to be alive despite lockdown and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm
Yeah.
like excited, like yeah, we have the longest lifespan like in all of human history right now. So, you know, I should be
Mm.
painting till I'm 120. Yeah.
That's the goal.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's the
definitely
goal.
the
That's the
goal.
goal. No other painter has ever been able to do that. I want to do
That's a
that.
well, there's your dream. That's a big goal, and you could probably do it too. Definitely believe that. That's awesome. And I guess during phase two, have you been able to connect with any other artists or connect with artists who have been shown in the exhibition as well?
Not yet, not yet. I
Or
did meet a
virtually?
lady. Yeah, no, not virtually. I mean, I did. On going to the opening, I did meet one of the artists there. She's a lovely lady. Her name passes by my mind now. I can't get it, but yeah, I, you know, um, but yeah, cause like for me, it's a little hard connecting to people here because my job is so far.
Mm.
And then when I come home, it's either family or the studio. It's like choices, choices, choices. You know? Yeah, yeah. Family time on the studio is like, yeah. There's only so many hours in a day. Uh, those who know me well know that I don't really sleep. So
Mm.
that's part of it too, which I'm learning that you have to sleep. You know?
You do. Yes, that's so important. I am a big proponent of sleep, so I will say yes, that is very important.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
it's just exciting, and I'm just happy. You know, it's a beautiful overcast New England
Yes.
Saturday morning. You know,
Yes,
but it's chilly, and it's like winter doesn't want to go away, but we're telling it
it
to
does
leave.
not.
You know, so yeah. Oh yeah, and then also too, I should talk about that something that a lot of people don't know about. Mass Mocha has a very vibrant artist program,
It does.
art assets for artists. They help us a lot, you know. They give us a lot of resources. Brianna, um, and the other guys there, they really helped us out a lot with Priya and I getting situated here. So there's tons of stuff to do, you know. You just have to do a little bit of Googling and research,
Yeah,
you know, and you'll find people, your people and stuff. Yeah.
for sure. And is that how you found out about This Is Us and this exhibition? How did you come to find out and then want to submit for This Is Us?
Well, I subscribed to the newsletter, and you guys did have
Yes.
an open call. You guys did have an open call, and also to Karen did yeah, I think I'm on her mailing list too, you know.
Okay.
Because I fresh paint before, I'm on her mailing
Okay.
list. And then when the first one came out, I was like, was like, no, this is too soon. I don't have an idea yet. Or yeah, as between projects. So I was like, I want to do this justice and really like give it my all. So I eat
Mm,
out a block of time to say, this is when I'm going to do it. This is when it's done, you know. Because no, I'm getting like really busy. So I have to be like, I have this amount of time, this window, do it, you know. So yeah, and I'm pretty pleased with 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 how it turned out, you know. Um, I love that painting a lot.
that's awesome. I mean, you definitely should be, and you absolutely did it justice. Like you mentioned, it's just such a lovely piece. And it was just it's just such a beautiful piece. Like I mentioned earlier, just the familiarity, and I think so many people can relate with just being disconnected from loved ones and family members during the time in which you did create it, and then
Mhm.
thinking about that and having the time to reflect on their significance and impact, especially during COVID. So you
Yeah, but
definitely
then
did it justice.
thank you so much. But then again, I hope like anyone can see like, oh, can relate to, missing mom. So,
Mm.
I want it kind of open-ended too, But yeah, I'm glad you like it. More to
Yes, I
come.
mean, there's so much. Yes, absolutely. And like you mentioned, there's just so much we can pull from it and relate to. But it is again such a beautiful piece. But yes, with more to come, do you want to share where people can find out more about you, your work, and other projects you have coming up?
Okay, yeah, AndreGreen.com. Subscribe to my mailing list. I put the projects out that are coming down the pipeline, um, to my email list way before it goes out on social media. Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Subscribe to the mailing list. Become a part of the Green Crew, I guess. Oh, I should just coin that. Mm.
You should. Yes, the Green Crew.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that support me. I just want to thank everybody, because me can't do it alone. If the Springfield Museum wasn't there and trying to have a community outlook, then the painting wouldn't have a platform. If you didn't like hop on in Saturday morning when your bed is still calling, we wouldn't be doing this. So I am very appreciative and thankful. It's just thanks all around. I think what I'm trying to run away from is like people see one thing, like a project or a painting, but they don't appreciate how many hands it takes to lift that one thing.
Mm,
You know, it really is a community effort, and those hands are unseen, but I like to highlight them and tell them thanks, and thank you.
absolutely. I really enjoy just hearing about just the essence of community and how that just has impacted everything, the work that you've done and your inspirations and the piece at hand. Like that's really beautiful. And I think so many of us can learn from that and just reflect upon that, especially as we continue to navigate during this time and just after, I think
Yeah,
sometimes we get lost.
yeah.
We
Well,
forget
the
that.
thing is, I hope that people get from COVID is how precious community is and connection
Mm,
is. Once you're not really able to hug in public, you know, I think when we are able to do that again, we should cherish it. You know,
absolutely.
um, yeah, because that human connection is that thing that really like helps to make life livable. You know, you have people going through depression and all sorts of stuff, and just being able to connect with somebody. Not saying that you need to be um a Mother Teresa, but at the same time, just a human touch. Being a little bit more warm, a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
thoughtful. It's precious, and I think those of us who learned those lessons, I know I have. Um, I just cherish it. I just cherish my neighbors and stuff like that. So
Absolutely. Yes, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much again for your time. This has just been such a great discussion, and I see in the comments we can hug Mama in the painting. Yes.
I'll ask my brother to hug my mom for me, and she'll use.
Please.
Yeah, she's very stoic, so she'll be like, But yeah, and Ethan, yeah, thank you so much for joining in. Thanks for the support,
And just
Marley
I just
Taylor.
thought, oh yes, and thanks for the photos. Um, did you, I didn't even ask, but was your mom excited, or what did she think? Did you tell her
She
that
was shocked.
after?
She was shocked. She was shocked because, of course, the attire is like this thing that is you're only supposed to be wearing in a house. So that adds to me the intimacy of it, but then also to it's showing out. So she's like, "Oh, I can't tell you what she said. I can't tell you." But I'll say this: she was moved.
One way or another.
She was moved. And my undergrad teacher, a very great artist in his own right, Cecil Cooper, he's passed now, said this best that you know, no one should ever walk past a painting. They should either love it or hate it, but no one should be like,
Mm,
you know. So
mm.
I guess that she was moved, peeved, or loved. I won't. I'll leave you to infer. Um, yeah, I'll leave you to figure out that one. Yeah, that's a great thing for me. So at least I got a reaction. You know.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes. Well, again, thank you so much. I've
Thank you again.
just been so excited to talk with you. Please be sure to check out and become a part of the Green Crew, like Andre stated.
Yeah.
Yes.
www.andregreen.com. I'm one of those now. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh, and then can you share your I mean you can look at the top of the slide, but if you don't mind sharing your Instagram handle as well.
Oh yeah, Andre Green Studios. Can I let me put it in the chat?
Sure. Yes, and do be sure to check out Andre's phenomenal work, as well as the rest of the This Is Us exhibition, which is on display until May 2nd. That time is approaching really, really fast. So please make sure you check out
Yeah.
Andre's work there, as well as our other artists, and also some of our past live conversations that we've been able to have. And we've just been having such great conversations with so many just great different artists and people from the community. So we're excited. It's great. Please be sure to check that out.
Yeah,
There we go.
subscribe
Andrae
to the
Green
newsletter.
Studio.
Stuff is coming soon. I can't focus on
Yes.
it because it's going all over the place. But yeah, yeah, stuff is coming
Amazing.
soon. Look out in the summer. More stuff is coming.
Yes. Perfect time for the summer when we can be outside a little bit more social distance, but it's brighter and it's not, no freak snowstorms
Yeah,
randomly.
I am inviting you when I'm on that lift in Fresh Paint, Springfield. You should come down.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I know of a few. I think some other people I know want to be involved in that too, but I'll definitely connect with you for sure. With that, that would be awesome. But
yeah.
thank you so much. Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you to everyone who has joined on this Saturday morning and spending time with us and talking about art. And definitely, check out the Springfield Museums when you can.
Yeah, art, love, and
Okay.
life.
Yes. Take care and have a great rest of your Saturday. Talk
All right,
soon.
you too. Keep being
Bye,
awesome.
everyone.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you as well. Bye bye.
Bye bye.